Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. So it is about chapter number 24, regioselectivity. So first thing is what is regioselectivity. In previous chapter we have seen what is chemoselectivity, that if we have a reagent, then the reagent can decide to react with which functional group it want to react. Right? And in case of regioselectivity, suppose I have a functional group like ketone, it can form enolate after removal of proton, right? So a incoming functional group, a nucleophile, can react with this carbon or it can react with this one, right? So with which carbon it will react, it is its regioselectivity. At which position it will going to attach, it is its regioselectivity. So first point we will take ortholithiation. It is very important point, a very important reaction of organolithium compounds. So organolithium compound displace or replace the hydrogen present at the ortho position of aromatic rings, right? And it is possible only in the aromatic compounds which have functional group containing atoms like oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur. So the best ortholithiation group have lone pair of electrons to form complex with lithium ion. For example, in this case we have oxygen, in this case we have nitrogen. Both of them are lone pair of electron and they can combine with this lithium to form a complex, and which give stability to the molecule, right? So for example, in this case this butyl lithium will remove one proton from this position. So when it remove one proton from this position, this oxygen form a complex with this lithium, so we get a product like this. Second point is this functional group should have an electronegative atom which can stabilize anion. Means when we remove this proton, we will get an anion here, right? And this electronegative oxygen atom can withdraw electron density from this carbon and provided stability, right? So both things are necessary for this functional group. In this case we have this functional group in which this nitrogen has lone pair of electron, so it can stabilize it can form a complex with this lithium, as well as it can stabilize the anion generated after removal of proton from ortho position. What is the benefit of getting lithium at ortho position? When we get a lithium at ortho position, we can react it with compounds like aldehydes and ketones. So we can attach different functional groups at ortho position which are not possible directly because this position is hindered. So functional group tries to attach at para position, but with the help of ortholithiation we can attach them at ortho position, right? So after hydrolysis it will give you this product. Then second point is sulfonation show orthoselectivity without lithiation. Means in case of sulfonated product we can get attachment of new functional group at ortho position by itself, and we do not need any organolithium compound for that, because what is the reason for that? The sulfonation is a reversible reaction. So in first step we will get iso3 attached at ortho position and at para position because OH is ortho para dialectic. In next step we are using NaOH, and this NaOH can remove acidic protons. So it will remove this one and this one because these two are more acidic as compared to OH. So these are first removed. What is the need of generating this dianion? Because deprotonation will make them less deactivating. Otherwise these SO3H groups are highly deactivating in nature. It is very difficult to attach one more functional group to this ring in presence of these two SO3H groups. But if we remove these two protons, it will become less deactivating in nature, right? Now we can do its bromination, and bromine will be attached at the ortho position of this OH because para is already occupied, and this position is meta to this SO3, right? So we will get Br attached here. Then if we do its sulfonation, if we use sulfuric acid at high temperature again, then this reaction will become reversible, means these two SO3 groups will be removed. Now we will get Br attached at ortho position. Otherwise, bromination, if we directly do bromination of this phenol ring, then bromination will be done at para position preferentially, then we will get ortho position. Okay, so if we want only ortho substitution, then we can use this reaction. Then regioselectivity in naphthalene. So this is the structure of naphthalene molecule, and these two carbons are not used in electrophilic substitution reactions, right? And if we this naphthalene has two type of protons. This one is alpha and this one is beta, right? In most of the reactions, it gives us alpha product, means we will get electrophile attached at alpha position, and this beta position is less reactive, and it is true for the irreversible reaction. Most of the electrophilic substitution reactions are irreversible in nature, but sulfonation is reversible in nature. So in case of reversible reactions, we will get alpha product at low temperature and beta product at high temperature. Means alpha product is kinetic product in case of reversible reactions and beta product is thermodynamic. So if we are doing sulfonation of naphthalene at low temperature, then we will get SO3H group attached at alpha position, and if we are doing sulfonation at high temperature, then we will get SO3H group attached at beta position. Means beta product is more stable in nature. We know that thermodynamic products are more stable and kinetic products are faster in nature. So the attachment of this SO3H group is provide stability to this naphthalene molecule, because this SO3H group can cause clash with this proton attached at alpha position of other ring, right? While in this case it is far away from it, so this is more stable. Then we will take regioselectivity in nucleophilic aromatic substitution reactions. So we have already seen that how we can do nucleophilic aromatic substitution in aromatic rings. Aromatic rings generally show electrophilic substitution reactions, but in certain conditions they can show nucleophilic aromatic substitutions also. So first reaction is the nitration of this dichlorobenzene ring. So we can use any of this Cl and it will give us our product. Suppose we are using this Cl, and considering that we can attach NO2 group attached at para position, right? If we are attaching at ortho position, because Cl is ortho para directing, so if we are attaching at ortho position, then this ortho position is occupied, and if we are going to attach at this position, then these three groups can show clash and it provide instability to this molecule. That is why we will get preferentially this NO2 group attached at para position. So first reaction is electrophilic substitution reaction. Then we are using NaOMe, so it will provide me methoxide ion. This methoxide ion is nucleophile, right? It is not an electrophile. So what it can do, it can replace this Cl. So we have studied in nucleophilic aromatic substitution reactions that we need a leaving group like halides, and we need a a functional group attached at ortho or para position, which can show conjugation, right? So if we are attacking this methoxide on this carbon, then this bond will shift here, this will shift here, and this will shift here. So we will get a structure like this, right? And when it will come back, it will remove this Cl. So this is about the regioselectivity, means at which position this nucleophile can attach, right? Then we will take halolactonization. It is very important reaction. We can do halolactonization with carboxylic acids, and we need iodine and sodium bicarbonate for this reaction, and this structure should contain our alkene also, right? So first step is the iodination of this double bond. It will form iodinium ion, and this sodium bicarbonate will remove this proton. So it will form a structure like this. I can number it, right? Now this negative charge will attack on this carbon. Why it is attacking on this one, not on this one? Because it is after shifting of this bond, this carbon is forming more stable carbocation. That is why this negatively charged oxygen will attack on it, right? It is true for activated groups attached here. If I have iodinium ion, brominium ion or activated oxygen, then it will show this type of reaction, right? So it will provide me more stable carbocation, this reaction provide me more stable carbocation, and it is also inversion in at this center. So it is a mixture of SN1 and SN2 reaction. We have already discussed about it in previous chapters, right? It will form this product. So at this stage, from up to this stage, it is haloelectronization. Then if we are using sodium methoxide, then what can happen in this reaction? This sodium methoxide will provide me methoxide ion, which will attack on this carbon, right? So this bond will shift here, and when it will come back, it will shift here, right? Because this carbon oxygen bond is much weaker than carbon carbon bond, that is why this bond is breaking. So when it will break, it will form. Now this negatively charged oxygen will attack on this carbon, and this I will be removed. So it will form a epoxide here. Now one more molecule of methoxide will attack, and it will attack at this carbon because it is not activated oxygen. So it will attack on less hindered side. It is SN2 reaction only, and this oxygen will get protonated. So it will form a molecule like this. In next example, first we will do its haloelectronization. So it will form first iodinium ion here, and H from this oxygen will be removed. Then it will show again same reaction. It will attack on this carbon, this bond will shift here, and we know that it is the reaction is mixture of SN1 and SN2 reaction. So both these carbon are same, so according to this it should attack on this carbon, right? But this ring is more hindered. 1 2 3 4 membered ring is very hindered. That is why it is attacking on this carbon to form 5 membered ring. The reaction will give you inverted product, means if this iodine is below the plane, then this group will attach above the plane, and hydrogen attached here will be below the plane. Then in next step we are using a base. This example has also been asked in CSI and NET examination, and there they were used the base BBU, right? So what will happen if we are using a base? We can remove 3 types of proton. We can remove this proton, suppose it is 1. We can remove any of these 2 protons, suppose these are 2, and we are removing any of these 2 proton, these are suppose 3. So if we are following first pathway using this proton and this I, we will get elimination reaction and we will get a double bond here. But if it is following SN2 pathway, then these 2 groups should be anti-periplanar to each other, right? So this is not possible. Second, if we are using proton 3, then these 3 number protons are less acidic as compared to these 2, because they are next to this carbonyl group, that is why they are more acidic. So we will remove this proton. So we will get first a enolate, right? Then this charge will come back at its position. This bond will shift here and I will be removed. So it is a type of E1CB mechanism, and this will be final product. Next is electrophilic attack on alkene and its regioselectivity. So if we want to attach a group at this carbon, suppose, right? So we can use boranes. So first is this BH3 can be write down like this. This H will attach here and BH2 will attach here. Then we are using H2O2 and NaOH, so alcohol will be attached. We can also use NaBH4 and BF3 in diethyl ether, so it will instantly produce this BH3, because otherwise boranes are highly unstable. So we can use mixture of these 2. It will also give me same product, same type of product. Then very important topic is regioselectivity in radical reactions. So if we are using this alkene and I am using HBr, there is no photolytic condition or any radical initiator for this reaction. We are generally using HBr only. So what will happen? First it will take this proton and it will form more stable carbocation like this. Then this Br will attach with this carbon and we will get a product like this, right? This should be the product for normal use of this HBr. But if we are using a radical initiator like this, and if we are heating it 60 to 80 degrees centigrade, then this bond will show homolysis and it will produce this radical, right? It will attack on HBr and produce Br radical. This Br radical will attack on this double bond, this alkene, and it can attack on this carbon or it can attack on this carbon, right? So you will get two type of product. If it is attacking on this carbon, then this bond will shift here, one radical will shift here, and second possibility is this one. Now you can easily find out which radical will be more stable. This radical is tertiary radical, it is more stable as compared to this one. That is why it will give you major product. This will be your final product. So this product is entirely different from normal use of HBr. Then second type of radical reaction in alkene is hydrogen abstraction. So if I am using Br2, then it will give me bromine radical, and this radical can remove this proton, it can attack on this carbon and can remove this proton. Second possibility is it can remove this proton and one radical is generated on this carbon. So first we will take this one, then we will take this possibility. It will generate radical here, then on which one more Br radical will attack and we will get this product. If we are following second pathway, then a radical is generated on double bond. So is it feasible that we can get a stable radical at this sp2 hybridized carbon? So it is not stable, right? So this pathway is not followed, only this one is followed. It can attack on this carbon and shift these bonds, but it cannot abstract proton from this carbon, right? So proton abstraction is possible only from this carbon. So this diagram is very useful. If we are using HBr under normal conditions, then we will get this one as product. If we are using under photolytic condition, then we are getting this product. Then if we are doing its bromination, then we will get this product. And if we are doing under photolytic condition, then we will get hydrogen abstraction. Then we will take nucleophilic attack on allylic compound and its regioselectivity. This topic is very important. So a nucleophile can attack on allyl halides in two different ways. If it is attacking on this carbon directly, it will remove this Br, right? So it is following SN2 path. This mechanism is SN2 mechanism. Other possibility is it will attack on this double bond, this bond will shift and then this Br is removed. So we will get a same type of product, right? So it is SN2 prime mechanism. These are two different type of mechanisms, but we are getting same product for this particular example. So how we can decide which nucleophile will attack on which side of this carbon, what will be its regioselectivity? So it is only decided on the basis of the structure of this allyl halide. Nucleophile will always attack from less hindered side. We cannot decide that SN2 pathway will be followed or SN2 prime will be followed. We have to look only at the structure of allyl halide, and if we have less hindered carbon, then nucleophile will attack on less hindered carbon. Whatever the pathway will be followed, we will not bother about that. For example, in this case, if we have a nucleophile, then this nucleophile will attack on this carbon. It will not attack on this one because it is hindered. So it will not attack on this one. This Br will be removed, right? In second, and it is following SN2 mechanism. In second case, again it will attack on this carbon. It is primary, so it can easily remove this Cl and we will get SN2 mechanism here. In third case, this carbon is now hindered, so nucleophile cannot attack on this one. Now it will attack on this carbon, this bond will shift and this Cl will be removed. So it is following SN2 prime mechanism. It depends on the structure of your allyl halide. Then if I am using this allyl alcohol, these are two type of allyl alcohol and we are using HBr in this reaction. So we know that this H will provide me proton and it will protonate this OH. So we will get carbocation generated at this carbon and at this carbon, and these two can show conjugation with this allylic double bond. So we will get a same type of intermediate in this reaction, right? So incoming nucleophile, that is Br, will attack on less hindered side. It will try to attack on less hindered side. So in both cases we will get this product, right? So integrity of this molecule is lost in this reaction. In most of the type of this reaction, the integrity of molecule is lost. But if we are using Mitsunobu reaction, we can maintain the integrity of this molecule, right? Here we are using hexachloroacetone. In Mitsunobu reaction, we generally use dead diethyl as a dicarboxylate, right? So it will give me this molecule as major product. We will also get this one, but this is the major product. Next point is related to a reaction of allyl halides with nucleophile. That is what pathway will be followed. So if we are using nucleophile like Grignard reagent, or we are using organolithium cyanides, then we will look at the structure of this allyl halide, and on the basis of that we will decide what pathway will be followed. But if we have organocuprates in reaction like this one, then SN2' pathway will be followed always. Whatever the structure of your halide, always SN2' pathway will be followed. So according to SN2 prime pathway, this nucleophile, that is R minus, will attack on this carbon. Actually this structure is like this, not this. This bond will shift here and Cl will be removed. So we will get R attached here, right? Actually this carbon is more hindered. So if we are using a nucleophile like Grignard reagent, organolithium and CN, then it should attack on this carbon. But in case of organocuprate compound, it will attack on this carbon. Similarly, in this case, this R minus will attack on this carbon. This bond will shift here and Cl will be removed. Then last and important topic about this chapter is electrophilic attack on conjugated dienes. So if I am using this cyclopentadiene and I am using first HCl or HBr can be used, and second is Br2. So first reaction is very obvious, that this alkene will take proton from this HCl. We will get a carbocation on this carbon, right? Then this carbocation will be stabilized with this allylic double bond, and then Cl will attack on this. So you will get this type of product. Now if I am using bromine, then first it will form brominium ion. Next is this bond will shift and this bond will break, and Br will attack on this carbon. It will not attack on this one or this one, it will attack on allylic carbon. So you will get only this type of product, dibromo product. Next question is, these two Br should be on the same side or they are on the different side. So if you are getting it on the same side, means the reaction is kinetically controlled. This reaction is kinetically controlled, means you will get this reaction at low temperature, and at high temperature trans product will be the major product, or this product can slowly convert it into this thermodynamic product. So if we are using a nucleophile on these two dibromides, so first I am using suppose cis dibromide, then the attack of this nucleophile is very interesting. Suppose I am using dimethylamine, then first it will attack on this carbon and this Br will be removed, and it is SN2 mechanism, right? In next step, this nitrogen having lone pair of electron will attack on this carbon, this bond will shift and this Br will be removed. So you will get this product, right? So the first step is SN2 mechanism. It is following SN2. In next step, it is following SN2 prime, because this nucleophile is attacking on this carbon and this bond is shift and then Br is removed. So it is using SN2 prime. In next step, I am again using dimethylamine and it will shift this bond. So it is following SN2 mechanism and this group will attach above the plane because it is SN2 mechanism, inversion of reaction carbon center. So this reaction is a mixture of SN2, then SN2 prime and then SN2, right? So you will get this type of product. Suppose I am using trans dibromo compound. Again the same nucleophile and first mechanism is SN2, right? So it will cause inversion of this carbon center. Then it will follow SN2 prime mechanism. Then again I will use the same nucleophile. It will attack on this carbon and it will follow SN2 mechanism. So it will give me this type of product, and these two products are similar to each other. Only the position of this NME2 group is different on these two carbon, right? So this is all about this chapter. I hope this video is helpful to you. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my videos, please share my videos with your friends. Keep watching. Thank you.